How to use the Japanese polite copula, des, to be. Here we have des, the polite way to say to be in Japanese. Des is technically an auxiliary verb and it follows the same sentence structure as all sentences in Japanese, SOV, subject, object, verb. This means that des is usually found at the end of a sentence in Japanese. Now, des has two main functions. The first is to state something. I am Matt. Matto desu.
Latix Fares desu.
Miri Kirito desu.
私は本作のゲームマスターです。
It is interesting. 面白いです。
その本、面白いの？
面白いですよ。後で有利にも貸してあげますね。
The second function is to make that statement polite. It is the president. So here, this soldier is talking to his senior, someone who's above him in position, so he must speak polite to him, and so he uses des to state this is the president on the phone. If you want to politely say you're okay, 大丈夫です。
私は大丈夫です。
If you want to politely say today is Saturday.
桜子先輩、今日は土曜日ですよ。
If you want to politely introduce yourself.
俺はリク。僕は梶本です。
お名前は？
夏野。南夏野です。
Here in Nier Automata, 9S is talking to 2B in a polite way, a very important relationship dynamic in the game, speaking to her in a polite manner.
僕たちは兵士です。
Perhaps you want to call someone a nice person.
あなたは優しい人です。
Or let's say you're really happy.
私、とても嬉しいです。
Just be careful as you can't put des after a verb, as that would be kind of like doubling up on verbs in a sentence, verb, verb. Instead, to use verbs politely in Japanese, you need to use the polite form, mas.
兄貴、行きますよ。
Des is similar to the plain copula, da, and the formal copula, dearu. All of these are used in the same way to state something is in Japanese. That's what the copula means, to be. The difference, however, is that des states something in a polite way.
どう、志保さん。すごくいい雰囲気です。ここでコーヒーが飲めると思うと感動ですね。
Whereas da states something in a more emphatic way.
おお、雨だ！雨だぞ！本当に降ってきた！
And dearu is a little bit more formal, often used in written speech, and it gives it more of a literary feel.
我が名はレオナール・レシ・リモン。アルモリカ騎士団の騎士である。
1、沖浦は将校を殺した犯人、または共犯である。
Just be careful though, as you cannot conjugate des like you would other verbs in Japanese. Des has its own forms of conjugation. Like for example, the past tense form would be deshita, was.
あなたと共に戦えて光栄でした。
今日の晩ご飯どうでしたか？
Or the polite volitional, desho.
嘘でしょ？本当だ。
Or even the negative form, dewa arimasen or ja arimasen.
行きません！あなた様お一人では！
大丈夫です、バンドレ。一人じゃありません。信じられません。二度と近寄らないでください。あなたなんてもう友達ではありません。
Or even nai des.
すみません、よくわからないです。
いえ、私は見てないです。
Now here with nai des, you actually can have des following the nai form of verbs. Technically, nai is an e adjective. When you look up in a dictionary, it is actually considered an e adjective. It conjugates in the same way in everything. So you can put des following the nai form of a verb.
全然そんなんじゃないです。お客さん、本当に凝ってますね。相当辛かったんじゃないですか
？Now you may be thinking, hang on a second, it's written as desu, but it's said as des. So this is an interesting thing about both des and mas in Japanese. So the final su sound is a bit softer. Instead of desu, it's des. However, that last su sound in des can actually be pronounced very clearly, especially when you're asking questions. And you can also see it used with more formal speaking characters as well as certain dialects. But definitely the most common way you'll see des being pronounced as desu is when used in a question, because questions need a rising end. Also, another thing to be aware of is that while it's true that des is like the polite way to say is, am, or are, you can actually still state that something is without des. This is like a more casual way of stating something. So you could say something is interesting just with omoshiroi. Or something scary with kowai. Technically, the copula is still here, it's just being omitted. The meaning stays the same, it's just no longer polite. And so des is normally used in polite situations when you want to speak to someone in a polite way. It can be used in casual friendly situations as well. And if you want to be really chill, there's even a more kind of casual polite form. Su. So you have a small tsu and then the su. This is kind of a gap in between the thing you said and saying su. And this is used in situations when you want to kind of still be polite, but you also want to be a bit more casual and friendly. You don't want to be rude, you're still a polite person, but you want to speak in a kind of relaxed, chill way. And that's how you often see this contraction of des as just something su.
マジ？それ旅行ってことっすよね。
じゃあ、君らにも結構フレンドリーだった？
そうっすね。あれ？そういや今日コーダたちは？2年2組まだ来てないですね。マッツンとかアカネも。
今！ちょっと待って！
ダメだ。
厳しいっすね、兄貴。
誰が兄貴だ。
言い訳っすね。
厳しいっすね。
So as you saw in all of those examples, right, the person saying su is kind of a more chill person, but still also someone who's wanting to be polite. We saw kids talking to their elders, so trying to be casual and friendly, but also trying to be polite. And we saw some very chill, casual, but also polite speakers like Waka and Wedge.
おい、こいつ知ってるか？いえ、初めて見る顔っすね。
So hopefully that's not too confusing. Des is used at the end of a sentence to state something as well as to state it in a polite way. It normally follows nouns and adjectives at the end of the sentence to make it polite, and it doesn't follow verbs. That's because des is actually technically an auxiliary verb, or the copula, to be. So hopefully that video was enjoyable and helped give you a stronger feel for how to use des in Japanese. This is a really common piece of language, it's perhaps even the most common piece of Japanese, so you definitely see it used all over the place. Not just for formal polite speakers, it can be used in casual situations as well. It's an incredibly common piece of language. But just know if you want to state something in a polite way, adding des at the end of the sentence is the way to do it. And so if you speak in a combination of both using des and the polite form of verbs, mas, then you'll be pretty covered for polite speech. So thanks so much guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, hopefully you're enjoying learning Japanese. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like and a comment, and if you really love the video, then come support the channel by joining us either through the Game Gengo website or Patreon, and you can come join us on the Game Gengo Discord, meet the community, chat directly with me, get Japanese help, and even just hang out and make some friends. So thanks so much guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you again in the next video. See you guys.